Hello everyone and welcome in this Let's Play of Prince of Persia. We're just gonna jump right in. I hope you enjoy it. In Sultan's absence, the Grand Vizier Jafar rules with the iron fist of tyranny. Only one obstacle remains between Jafar and the throne, the Sultan's beautiful young daughter. Marry Jafar, or die within the hour. All the princess's hopes now rest on the brave youth she loves. Little does she know that he is already a prisoner in Jafar's dungeons. Alright, so here we are again, playing Prince of Persia in the Dying of the Light. Oh, that sounds heavy. I just mean in the twilight of the day, I meant to say. I mean, it's almost dusk here. It's dusk. So, what do you think about this game, right? I like it personally. I think it's great. I play it all the time. My whole channel is filled with Let's Plays of Prince of Persia, and yeah, I said last time that I would start playing something else, maybe sim golf. But I don't want to play sim golf after all. I think it's too complicated. I don't think sim golf is a complicated game, but it's hard to narrate yourself whilst playing sim golf, you know? Yeah, you need a structure to narrate, you know, you need a predictable experience, and that's what I like about this game. It's just, you know, kind of zen background to whatever. I can just say whatever and the game speaks for itself, you know. That's what I think a Let's Play should be. It should just be a relaxing moment together. And this is why I think I want to play Oblivion next. I mean, I know Oblivion really well. Oh shit. I know Oblivion really well. I think I could make a nice Let's Play of it. But the thing is, I think the software that I use has difficulty detecting Oblivion when I play it. And maybe the frame rate won't be good, you know. I mean, I use a very rudimentary laptop for recording these videos. So let's talk about you, right? What do you think is good entertainment? You know, I have a housemate who always watches television. You know, I don't watch TV. You know, as John Travolta put it. You know, and that is really a curse on my life. You know, it's like at some point I just decided that watching TV was not cool or something, and then I started watching Let's Plays. Now, watching Let's Plays is not cool either. You know, I actually prefer listening to music most of the time, but a Let's Play is more, I don't know. It's more engaging, I guess. So sometimes I feel like watching a Let's Play. Usually when I'm doing something, you know, like, you know, I write. You know, I haven't really been working on my book. I was writing a book, but I'm not really working on my book. But I still write. I have a blog, and I tweet on Twitter. Yeah, and I do this. This is also a kind of writing. I mean, you're recording speech, right? And that's really what writing is. Contrary to what some people believe, I think that writing is some kind of a spontaneous ordering of things. Yeah. I don't believe that. But you know, yeah. Oh, there's someone at the door. I'll have to check who it is. Hold on. No worries, my housemaid will answer the door. My life is a interesting story that you really need to hear about. It's not an ordinary life by any means, but at the other hand, there's not that much to tell. But still, it's an art to tell stories, and it's been a long time since I told a story. I don't really tell that many stories anymore. For a time, I believed that I was no longer capable of telling a story. But that's not at all true. I think I could still tell a story. Let's see, where to begin? Well, it all started when I was studying for an essay that we had to write for my course on the philosophy of history. So I figured that I should take a course on the philosophy of history, right? Because I was like, that's my thing, philosophy of history, that's my thing. That's what I thought. I must take this course. Now, why I thought that is not really important, It's just that I don't know, I liked philosophy, I liked our philosophical reflection courses that we took, but I wasn't really that good at them, but I don't know, I identify with it for some reason. I'm not really sure why. I'd also taken courses in literary theory, philosophy and literary theory for the most part, all really useless knowledge. Probably under the idea that there is a great pleasure in accruing lots of useless knowledge, as Bertrand Russell said. Yeah, anyway, I was studying for this essay, and I was reading the Lao Tzu, which is a Taoist text, the Taoist text, if you will. And Taoism is a Chinese religious movement, a Chinese religion. But it also has a lot of philosophical aspects to it, or so you would believe. It's really a philosophy of wordiness, of inane wordiness. You could call it a religion of craziness. But many people feel attracted to it because it has this kind of abstract, metaphysical idea at its center, which is the Tao. And this idea inspired Star Wars. It inspired the Force. So you can imagine that a lot of people really like this religion. And I was reading this, and it seemed to me all of a sudden that it all had very precise strange meanings that I had to see. I had to figure them out. And I was really intensively studying this text. In the full conviction that I would find an answer to the essay problem in it, that we just had to write an essay on 10 theses we had fabricated for the professor. And I had a feeling that he really liked my theses. You know, the way he was reviewing them, you know, seemed very enthusiastic. So I was confident that I could really make a cool essay based on my 10 theses. And I hadn't written anything down yet. I was just studying because this was my method back then. You know, just to read as much as possible, get as many ideas as possible, and then just write it in one intense sitting, or maybe more if necessary, but you know, just write it all at once. All of a sudden, you know. Spontaneously, if you will. Yeah, so I hadn't written anything down yet. I was intensively reading this Taoist text, which is full of strange formulations, such as the road forward goes backwards, and if everybody thinks something is good, that's not good, and do to not doing, or nothing shall remain undone. And this last wording especially, and it also says, those who speak do not know, those who know do not speak, you know. And yeah, all these ideas together in my mind suddenly led me to collapse, you know, like a black hole collapses. I just started doing the not doing in my experience. I started practicing living out the Wu way, you know. And the way I did this was by constantly saying to myself, don't do, don't do, don't do. And that was a very strange thing to do. But this is how I started writing this essay. I figured I had all the ideas I needed, and I was sitting in my chair, and it was I just waited for the spark to ignite in my body, you know, and I just started writing this Chuang-Tzu-like thing. Chuang-Tzu is the other great author of Taoism, who is notable for having written a work that is almost the opposite of the Tao Te Ching, the Taoist work that I had been reading. And I started writing this really prolixitous, confused verbiage, but in the full understanding that I had enough ideas to produce my essay. It was all that I needed for the essay, and I figured it was all I needed for my life. Just one big idea, the Wu Wei, right, of the Tao Te Ching. So I got a 9 for that essay, and as I saw that grade, I remember finishing the work on the essay and thinking I'd written something sublime, almost. That's how I felt. I felt I'd written something sublime. There were small errors in the text, so it was really, normally they are unforgiving about that, or small mistakes in the annotation. But he gave me a 9, you know. And I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the 9. I was just overcome with this feeling of being recognized, you know. I felt I had finally gotten the recognition I deserved. I mean, it was together with, and there was only one other person who had scored a 9. So I'd done really well on that essay. But, you know, you'd think, okay, you got a nice grade, you know, so what, you know, but the idea did not go away. You know, I figured this idea was that good that I could do anything with it, you know. I started thinking I can make I can write my thesis, you know, at the end of university. You have to write a paper, and this is called a thesis, you know. It's a big research project that you have to do. To get your degree, you know, and I thought, like, I can write my thesis this way. I can study languages this way. I can do anything this way. That's what I thought. I can live this way, you know. I can have mystical experiences this way. That's what I was thinking all the time. So I went to Taiwan. And that was the next big thing in my life after writing that. Oh yeah, and I had to take a test for a difficult subject that I had been retaking. So I was completely convinced that I was a great student at this point. But I was working pretty hard, which is never a good sign. And so I had to take this exam. I took this exam already with the idea of the Tao in my mind, and I don't know how I answered those questions, but I did not pass. I barely studied for the test, so it wasn't that strange that I did not pass. So that was a huge bummer, after this great feeling of recognition, I had this feeling of total failure when I didn't pass that difficult subject for the second time. But the worst part was when a classmate who had found my own grade before I could find it, so I asked him to look it up for me. When he told me my grade that I had not passed, and then he said, "I'm sorry, I regret it for you," in Dutch, I regret it. And that was just total humiliation for me, because he was a totally frivolous guy, he couldn't take anything seriously. He was, he had no right to pity me, and I felt just totally humiliated. And then I went to Taiwan, and in Taiwan all the time, I was in the Tao, I was just convinced that this was going to work somehow, I just tried to ignore almost everything, and just focus on this great truth that I discovered, just this great idea that was somehow going to save me. I figured it could also get me a girlfriend, you know, in Taiwan or in the Netherlands or whatever. Because I've never had a girlfriend, you know. I figured that would be really good for me somehow. I don't know, I wasn't really thinking. In Taiwan, I had weird experiences. I got another really high grade for a course on theater. And I passed half a course on something. But I didn't pass it in entirety, you know, which says it all, you know. I just reached a point where I could only think things that nobody understood, you know. And I couldn't think about anything that everybody could understand, you know. And I was reading Charles Taylor's Hegel in the meantime. You know, you can't help but think that Hegel is symbolic for, or symptomatic for, what I was going through at the time. You know, Hegel is a German philosopher, you know, and he is known for writing an indecipherable prose, you know. So I was basically walking around like Hegel, you know, trying to be Hegel. Or be like Hegel, right? I didn't actually want to be Hegel, but I wanted to be like Hegel. I wanted to be gebildet, you know, as the Germans call it, you know. Which means something like refined or educated. But literally, it just means built up, sort of. passed the thesis, and then I went back to the Netherlands, I had just an awful time in Taiwan, I had tortured myself with this idea of not doing everything. I hadn't achieved Dick Squad, So I'm back to Netherlands. I passed the difficult subject after taking it for the third time. But it was so hard. I had to give up so much of what I thought I knew from that idea of not doing, from that idea of the Tao, that I just felt I had to come up with an even better idea, So I started reading a lot again, mostly about Hegel and all that, because I really thought I would find the answer there. And I started using an old trick of mine. I started to imagine things in my mind. That somehow represented the idea, So I was reading all these metaphysical books, and just trying to all condense this into some kind of genius idea that would motivate me to do everything that I wasn't doing for some reason with that whole Tao thing. But I felt like I'd learned something somehow. I'd learned that very often the meaning of a thought, its significance, depends entirely on finding just the right word. That's something I learned from retaking that course for the third time and almost not passing. In history, there are a lot of, because it was a history course. In history, there's a lot of things that just have a specific name for them. You can't just gobbledygook around them. You can't just blather around them. You have to say exactly the right word, and that's just really hard. So in that sense, history is a more exact science than mathematics even, because the words all have to be exactly right, whereas in mathematics, you can replace them with an abstract symbol, and still have a coherent logic. So that's something I discovered. But anyway, at some point, I just could not stop anymore. I was reading all these books, was meeting with my mother every now and then, just for social reasons, but I was barely doing anything. I was just living it up. Just enjoying total leisure for when it wasn't even leisure, right? I was just complete let's call it leisure. I can't call it leisure now after all I've said. It's complete vacation, right? I had a complete vacation for half a year or so, just living it up, and what did I do, right? I didn't even drink, I could have had so much fun if I had just spent the day drinking. That would have been an amazing experience, but instead, I was just reading all these books and trying to write a genius song or something, And there was just nothing. I watched a lot of Let's Plays during that time. But mostly I just spent whole weeks, just typing, not sleeping, skipping sleep, just typing, under the impression that I was maybe writing a genius philosophical opus, Totally ridiculous. But then at some point, I just decided I don't need an idea, I just need a fixed thing in my mind, and that was when I completely lost my mind. I just started to go out trying to have fun, but in the meantime, just constantly thinking like there's got to be a fixed point somewhere, and the things I found were driving me out again, I would be like, I don't have an idea, so I don't have to write a genius philosophical opus, right? Now, since I'm out of my mind, I just have to write a genius song, so it became a very boring period of just me recording silly soundtracks and singing my despair out into the world. But I could not stop thinking, I could not stop trying to find a fixed point anymore, I was completely obsessed. And as I was preparing for my masters, I was just in a very weird place mentally, I mean, I didn't even want to do a master's, but my dad talked me into it. The tyrant Jafar lies dead, his power shattered. Throughout the land, the people of Persia hail their princess and the brave youth who saved her from the forces of darkness. No longer a stranger, he shall from this day forth be known as Prince of Persia. Anyway, the story continues, but I can't really elaborate too much on it anymore. I've already been talking way too long about this. And maybe I'll continue some other time. For those of you who know me, this is good, right? This is us getting to know each other. It's a long, long story. It's only just begun in many ways. But the point of it is that I'm in a much better place now. But the interest of my life is that I just try to find some kind of a thing to hold on to. I try and find a crutch. I think as everybody does. But mine has interfered actively with my life. It's interrupted my life. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you have any comments based on what I said, you can leave a comment, I'll try to respond if I have time. And if you have any if you like this video, right, you can click the like button. I appreciate that, I think. And you can even subscribe to the channel, although I don't know if I'll upload any more. But why not, right? Who knows? Alright, thanks again very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye.